Thank you, Rev Todd. And as we sing about cherishing the divine within, we're going to sing the greatest thing in all my life is loving you. And when you think about the word you, think about you as in the Christ within, that divine light, beautiful love within us. You as in when you look in the mirror, the person that's looking back at you. And you as in your fellow man and woman. Let us sing together. The greatest thing in all my life is loving you. The greatest thing in all my life is loving you. I want to love you more. I want to love you more. The greatest thing in all my life is loving you. The greatest thing in all my life is knowing you. The greatest thing in all my life is knowing you. I want to know you more. I want to know you more. The greatest thing in all my life is knowing you. Serving. The greatest thing in all my life is serving you. The greatest thing in all my life is serving you. I want to serve you more. I want to serve you more. The greatest thing in all my life is serving you. Back to loving. The greatest thing in all my life is loving you. The greatest thing in all my life is loving you. I want to love you more. I want to love you more. The greatest thing in all my life is loving you.
Friends, I invite you to close your eyes or soften your gaze. Just become aware of your breath and relax a little more deeply into your seat. Filled with joy today at the opportunity to come together and direct our attention to that transcendent, creative spirit of life, of love. The greatest thing in life is knowing you. A transcendent experience of life, of love, of wisdom. That transcendent experience, that transcendent essence that is in each one of us. And so with a gentle exhalation, I invite you to bring in your awareness, bring in your attention away from that transcendent, all over the place experience into that soft, expansive spark within. The greatest thing in life is knowing the one within. Knowing in our intellect and in our heart that I am one with the one. I want to know I am more. I want to know I am more. I want to serve. I am more. I want to be the presence of I am. I want to be the presence of love in all that I think, all that I say, and all that I do. From that still, quiet place in consciousness, I invite you to pause for a moment. Pause for just a moment and cherish every opportunity to love. And bring your attention and your intention to the truth that everything, everyone, every place in time and space is an opportunity to love. I cherish the opportunity to share the love of God. When I share the love of God, I know God more. I serve God more. I love God more. So just for a moment in the stillness and the silence, focus on love, feeling grateful for the opportunity. The greatest thing in all my life is loving. The greatest thing in all my life is loving. Affirm that with me. The greatest thing in all my life is loving. And maintaining that intention to be the presence of love, I invite you to Bring your awareness now back to playground planet Earth in whatever space you happen to be in. Knowing at the level of spirit we are here together right now. And loving you is my greatest joy. This we claim in the nature and as the nature of the living Christ. And so it is, and so we let it be.
The greatest thing in all my life is loving you. The greatest thing in all my life is loving you. I want to love you more. I want to love you more. The greatest thing in all my life is loving you. One more time. The greatest thing in all my life is loving you. The greatest thing in all my life is loving you. I want to love you more. I want to love you more. The greatest thing in all my life is loving And as we prepare to receive Rev Todd's message, let us sing this prayer song. This one is by Karen Drucker, and it's called Loving Kindness. May I be filled with loving kindness. May I be well. May I be peaceful and at ease. I think I have a little typo there. It says east, but it's ease. And may I be happy. Here we go. May I be filled with loving kindness. May I be well. May I be peaceful and at ease. And may I be happy. We're going to wish that for someone else. May you be filled with loving kindness. May you be well. May you be peaceful and at ease, and may you be happy. Let us sing we. May we be filled with loving kindness. May we be well. May we be peaceful and at ease, and may we be happy. May I be filled with loving kindness. May I be well. May I be peaceful and at ease. And may I be happy.
Does anyone recognize that song? That's the metta prayer. It's a Buddhist tradition. May I be at peace. It's beautiful. That's your sign. That's your first assignment today. Write it down. Take a note. Go home and look up the metta prayer and do that. Who remembers what book we're talking about? The book of joy. Joy. So I've been looking at the book of joy by Desmond Tutu and the Dalai Lama. And wow, what great information for us. And so those people that are participating in one of the book studies, I'm skipping ahead today because in our syllabus, this was like another day about obstacles to joy. And I thought, I don't want to focus on more obstacles. I want to focus on the tools. And so for the next few weeks, we're going to look at tools that we can put in our tool belt. Some of them we might have to pull out and dust off because we've already got them, right? Because, sometimes you have the tool in the toolbox that you're like, am I ever going to need this again? I needed a plumber's wrench this week. Luckily, I had a plumber's wrench so I could fix the flapper because that little plastic arm broke. That's frustrating when you've got things on top of everything. You have to take everything apart to be able to flush. So look, how frustrating. Oh, but with the right perspective, I had the right tool to do the job that I needed to do. So I could be joyful. Do you know how much joy you miss out on when you just don't give thanks every time you can easily flush the commode? We take stuff for granted every day, don't we? Oh, we take stuff for granted. And so as I'm going through all of these what are called in this book pillars of joy, this phrase showed up for me. Joy is not the absence of suffering, but the presence of perspective, of humility, and of heart. Because it's true that we can simultaneously be joyful and still know that there is suffering in the world, that there is suffering in our own lives. Because joy is not happiness, right? We've heard this. Happiness is kind of a condition of what's happening out here in Playground Planet Earth. But our joy is our divine birthright. It is knowing and being aware that Christ lives in us. That this divine energy of love, of wisdom, of understanding is in us in consciousness. And so there are 8 pillars that these two incredibly spiritual men discuss. They have qualities of the mind and they have qualities of the heart. Now, if you can think back to 10, 15 minutes ago when we read our 5 foundational principles, you know that qualities of the mind and qualities of the heart speak directly to our 3rd principle. Our thoughts and feelings help shape our experience of the world. And that they've aligned these qualities of mind and qualities of the heart to some scientific research. And if you want to hear about that, call me, text me, email me. We'll talk about the scientific research. It's there. But the qualities of the mind are perspective, humility, humor, and acceptance. And the qualities of heart are forgiveness, gratitude, compassion, and generosity. And this week when I was thinking about a message, and I had all of these, and earlier this week, yesterday, I was like, all of this is going to go into one message. That seems a lot. And this morning when I woke up, Spirit said, you are ridiculous. You can't talk about all that in one day and not leave too much unsaid. So today I just want to talk about perspective and forgiveness. Perspective and forgiveness. The way we see the world shapes our experience. And when we have a broader perspective, we can respond to challenges with a greater wisdom and with less reactivity. Sounds pretty good to me. I don't know if y'all have ever seen me react. You want to see me come back next week for the potluck and everybody put pickles or raisins in the food? You'll see a reaction. It's true. I have my idiosyncrasies, right? See, we can lock into this idea of perspective. I'm listening. I apologize. I skipped something. I need you to know that all of those pillars, already exist in you. They are divine ideas. They are part of your prosperity. They are in you in consciousness, and we simply must learn how to use them. The same way that we learn how to use these 12 powers of consciousness, these 12 powers are also divine ideas, part of our inherent prosperity. And so perspective is a divine idea that invites us to transcend this limited identity and this limited self-interest. Lowercase s, self-interest. Because when we are right up front and in the middle of the mess, the appearances, we have a very limited view. And all it takes is a gentle breath. And in consciousness, stepping back. Something the Dalai Lama talks about in the book is looking at things from 6 different angles, looking at it from the left and the right and from the front and from the back and from above and from below, and realizing that this limited self, this experience that we're having is so very contained. And when we stay in that little container, our lovely spacesuit, when we stay in this spacesuit and don't expand our sense of self to the world around us, that's where we build those walls and we create those dividers and start ruminating and telling our stories about how we're right and someone else is wrong. Y'all know that story? Right? And our 2 spiritual leaders in this book share with us that the wider perspective, the higher perspective, that what I talk about, this expansiveness of perspective, is where we are invited into serenity, where we are invited into equanimity, of balance. Because when I am, fully in my head and not engaging my heart and stuck with the perspective that I'm seeing through this limited lens of a Southern Appalachian boy from the mountains of Virginia living on the coast, boy, I can quickly put on my victim pants, and they're very stretchy and very comfortable. And you know what? When we put on our victim pants, and we all have a pair, we don't want to get out of them. It is the most comfortable thing that we own, unless we have spent a lot of time in practice in shifting our perspective and knowing that we are greater than the limitations that we have imagined or the limitations that have been introduced to us by others. Because I've got news if you don't know this, that this could rock your world. There are some people that don't want you to be as expansive and amazing as you can be. They want you to be limited. Because when you're limited, you're easier to control. So shift a perspective. And that's not always easy to do because sometimes we are, right in the midst of the appearances, and it is difficult. There's a story of a man on the subway who is getting really irate because there are these two children that are just, what one might say, acting a fool on the subway, making noise, running around, screaming, making all kinds of crazy noise. And finally, this gentleman looks at the father and says, would you please control your children? Because he's kind of been in his own space, not paying attention to his children. And he said, yes, I'm sorry. We're just coming from the hospital where their mother just died. And I don't think they know how to behave right now because I certainly don't either. We get in our minds this idea of what the world is supposed to look like and how everybody else is supposed to behave, and then we operate outside of our own control center because can we control what other people are going to do ever? No. We can influence it. Or more often, we create expectations and then never communicate them and then go, why are you behaving that way? Well, because in my head, we have an agreement, but I haven't told you what my expectations are. Anybody ever done that to you? Maybe you've done it a couple of times, right? We have to be aware of the lenses that we are looking through as we experience life. Our way shower gave us an instruction of turning the other cheek. If someone hits you, turn the other cheek. Right? One of the metaphysical meanings of this is shift your perspective. See this from a new direction. See this from a new vantage point. Because when we stay stuck in one spot and see the world from that one spot, we have a narrow view of what is possible for the world, for ourselves. Move around. See the world. Go visit another Unity church. Do something that expands your understanding, that allows you to love more, to know God more, to serve more. Because everyone that we see in our daily encounters, everything that we experience in our daily encounters, God is there. God is there. And sometimes it takes a perspective shift to see the divine in someone else. Sometimes it takes a perspective shift to see the divine in us. And if God is everywhere equally present, then God is in you. No ifs, ands, or buts. There is nothing that you have to do for that to be true. There's nothing that you can do to undo that. But it does require a perspective shift on occasion. And when that happens, when you have that awareness, when you can truly live in that place where I cherish every moment to be the presence of God's love. Swing wide the doors because your prosperity becomes unlimited. Becomes unlimited. Unless you keep putting back on those victim pants. And I know they're comfortable. But that is the teaching of unity. We must expand outside of victimhood and claim our divine nature. And welcome the opportunities that show up to encounter everyone else's love. And I know that that's challenging because sometimes people do stuff. I was talking to a minister friend yesterday, and they said, "How are you?" And I said, "I am great, but people. People being people." And this says it all. No one is incapable of forgiving, and no one is unforgivable. Ooh. Breathe that in. You are able to forgive. You are. And you are forgivable. And so is everybody else. And I know I have some stories in my head where, can I forgive that? Yeah. Because as I read, when I read stories of people who forgive violence to the point that someone is murdered, and I want to be mad because you didn't pay me back $20. I mean, doesn't that sound ridiculous? And if I get mad because I loaned somebody money and they didn't pay it back to me, I'm choking my garden hose of prosperity. Because I am holding someone else in bondage in me, and you know what it does to them? Not a thing. Not a thing. But forgiveness is one of the most misunderstood concepts, in my opinion. Because I talk to so many people who say, "Oh, I can't forgive this." Because there's this idea that forgiveness offers absolution. Like that. Or that forgiveness means, I'm going to let you do it again. And that's not forgiveness. This is something that the Dalai Lama says in the conversation he has with the Archbishop Tutu. That there is an important distinction between forgiveness and simply allowing others' wrongdoing. Sometimes people misunderstand and think forgiveness means you accept or approve of wrongdoing. No, this is not the case. We must make an important distinction. The Dalai Lama was speaking emphatically, striking one hand against the other. The actor and action, or the person and what he has done. Where the wrong action is concerned, it may be necessary to take appropriate counteraction to stop it. Toward the actor or the person, however, you can choose not to develop anger or hatred. This is where the power of forgiveness lies, not in losing sight of the humanity of the person while responding to the wrong with clarity and firmness. And to unity, that to not lose sight of the inherent divine potential of that person. Continuing his statement, we stand firm against the wrong, not only to protect those who are being harmed, but also to protect the person who is harming others. Because eventually they too will suffer. So it's out of a sense of concern for their own long-term well-being that we stop their wrongdoing. This is exactly what we are doing. We do not let anger and negative feelings develop toward the Chinese hardliners, but in the meantime, we strongly oppose their actions. This from a man who had to flee in the dead of night away from his country so that people in his country would not be slaughtered. And there were already a lot of people who were murdered. We can oppose actions. We can oppose ideas that are not divine ideas. We can oppose words and actions that don't speak to oneness, that don't address oneness, that don't come from a place of love. But we must lift up the wrongdoers. We must forgive them. We must not incubate hatred and anger. For that simply will create more strife and suffering in ourselves and in the world. The Archbishop added, forgiveness is the only way to heal ourselves and be free from the past. And as my favorite poet taught me, forgiveness is giving up all hope for a better past. The past is what it was. And we can stew on it and then drink down that poison every day for the rest of our lives, and all it does is destroy our future and does nothing to anyone else. I'm reminded of a story I heard of a woman who had stopped speaking with her sister. And they hadn't spoken in more than 20 years. And she had attended a forgiveness workshop, and the facilitator invited people to find some piece of unforgiveness in their lives, some place where they still had that, I can't even find the right word, but that immovable place of anger, of perceived wrongdoing, and an invitation to simply write a letter that eliminated blame, that simply talked about actions, what happened, what ideas may have happened, but did not denigrate the other person. And it was challenging, and it was painful. And yet she did it. And of course, these letters are written for us, not for anybody else. Right? Our forgiveness work is for us. Excuse me. Our forgiveness work is for us, because I don't recommend walking up to somebody that you haven't talked to in 20 years and going, I just want you to know I forgive you. Try that and see how that goes. Let me know. But she wrote the letter and then she put it away. And within 2 months, she was contacted by this sister that she had not spoken with in more than 20 years. And they started to meet occasionally for coffee. Not to bring up the past, not to overstate everything that ever happened, not to ruminate or relive the past, but the careful, intentional work of returning to relationship, rebuilding connection, learning how to slowly slip into comfort, even if trust is not yet available. And that only happened because she forgave, because she shifted a perspective about being right. And she realized that relationship is more important than any material thing, any appearance of action in the world. And that relationship was important, more important. Being the presence of love was what mattered. And interestingly, I don't know what the occurrence was. I don't know what the issue was that led to 20 years of not speaking. But in the end, that didn't matter. What mattered was being able to love one another, being the presence. Forgiveness isn't something we give away. It's something we give ourselves. It's how we make space for love to live again. So our first two pillars, perspective and forgiveness. And here's some ways that you can embody this in your life. Take an eagle view with your perspective. When something is happening and you are in the challenge, and it's, you ever have something that happens and it just creates knots in your body and you get tense? And take a breath, close your eyes, and imagine that you are rising up like on the wings of an eagle, and you can see so much more. And you can zero in on that one limited perspective of this lowercase f, s, or you can expand and see more. And if you can't see more, you can ask for help to see more. You can pray, help me see clearly. Right? Not set it right, but see it rightly. Excuse me. Second, you can reframe your story. Take something that was difficult or disappointing and write it down, and then in contemplation, ask yourself, what is Spirit inviting me to learn or to become through this experience? What is Spirit inviting me to learn or to become? How could this be happening for me instead of to me? I reframed COVID. I just mentioned today. One of the gifts of COVID for me was the fact that all of my Unity classes, except one, had expired, and I had to retake them. And because COVID hit, all those classes were suddenly taught online, and I didn't have to travel anywhere to take them. And I was able to get them all done in less than 2 years. That served me well. Served this community well. And finally, you can do a gratitude scan. At the end of the day, can y'all find one thing that maybe was frustrating in your life from every day? Just one thing? Just pick one. And then before you go to bed and you're doing your gratitude list, because I know you already do a gratitude list, but sit there and go, okay, this frustrating thing, let me name 3 likely blessings that are going to come out of this experience today. It's hard to be a victim when you focus on your blessings, when you shift your perspective. And then when it comes to your practices for forgiveness, there's everyone's favorite, the Ho'oponopono prayer. I'm sorry, please forgive me, thank you, I love you. An empty chair, sit across from an empty chair and imagine the person that you need to forgive is sitting there. Ever done that one? Ooh, in your mind eye, they're there, and you can say anything you want to say because they're not really there. But you know what? There is something very powerful about speaking your truth aloud, even if there's nobody there to hear it. One, it makes you get clear on what it is you believe and what you think. And sometimes when you hear it out loud, you go, ooh, I didn't realize I thought that, and I know that that's not true. You can clean up your thinking. You can clean up your words. But you can also get it out of your body, and then you can release it. I've said my piece. Because if you sit across from them in person and do it, right, now they have forgiveness work to do. It just creates more stuff. Release it, and then bless it, and bless them. And then finally, since we're here at the coast, if you're at home, you can do this with a rock. But here at the coast, walk down the beach and find the broken shell that represents whatever it is that you are holding on to that is cutting into your skin because you are holding it too tight. You ever found one of those shells? It was, And just put all that energy into that shell and then throw it back in the ocean. As far as you can, throw it out. You know what's going to happen? That shell's going to toss and tumble and get broken down and then get broken down, and then it'll turn into another beautiful shell one day. Probably not in our lifetime. That's part of the circle of life. And I know you're like, Todd, that sounds silly. It's a ritual. Some of our rituals look silly, especially to everybody standing on the beach looking at like, what on the heck are they doing? Well, you know what? Let them wear a Unity shirt, and they'll be like, oh, they go to that church. And then they're going to tell their friends about it, and their friends are going to show up because that's what they're looking for.
That's right.
So those are some tools that you can use. A lot of them, like the Ho'oponopono, I could never say that, Ho'oponopono, already in your toolbox. Dust it off if you haven't used it in a while. Turn your cheek. Shift your perspective. Make forgiveness a daily practice to yourself and to anyone else that you have made up a story about the horrible, horrible things they've done. Forgive what they've done and bless them. Because there is no place that God is not. Thanks for letting me share today, friends. I love you all.
Thank you for your message, as always, Rev Todd. I always learn so much from you. This one is one of mine, and it's called Through It All Is God. I can shout out in anger or think before I speak. I can choose to be strong or surrender to your feet. I can rage like a fire or soothe like the breeze. All of this is all of you and me. Because in and through it all is God. In and through it all is love. I am here to be a mirror, to to reflect the divine in you. In and through it all is God. Life can play a soft, sweet melody or screech in tragedy. It can wrap you in its arms or bring you humbly to your knees. It can bring so much suffering or joy and harmony. All of this is all of you and me. In and through it all is God. In and through it all is love. I am here to be a mirror, to reflect the divine in you. In and through it all is God. It's what it takes to live this human experience. It's what it takes to awaken to our souls. It's what it takes to recognize our wholeness. Because God meant us to be whole. And through it all is God. In and through it all is good. I am here to be a mirror, to reflect the divine in you. In and through it all is God. In and through it all is God. In and through it all is love. I am here to be a mirror, to reflect the divine in you. Oh, because in and through it all is God.